Thorne, the spiritual healer, coming in to do some messages for today. I'm usually in the morning, but today is a little bit later because I had to get my own massage this morning. So in a little bit later than normal. So it's an odd time of the day, but I need to get this done now because I have to teach this evening. So I only have time to come in once today. I had only have time to come in early in today. So I'm just letting people join in, just letting the room fill up a little bit. I will be back to mornings tomorrow morning. It'll be back to my morning time. Hello, Trina, Amanda, hi. Taryn, hi. And Tracy, hello, hello, hello. I'm really late today. Really, really late, but I am here. So my hair looks like this because I was off getting a massage. I have this amazing massage therapist in Leduc. Her name is Trish, and she's at Leduc Wellness. If you're in Leduc and you're looking for an amazing massage therapist, she is at Leduc Wellness in Leduc. If you're in Leduc, Alberta, she's incredible. When I see her, it's just like, so I'm a little bit like kind of energy today, and not bad, just kind of like just relaxed. So hello, hi Rhonda and Sherry, and yes, Trina, it was so nice. It was just like just watching the numbers come up. Oh, you're at work, Tara? So you just see me pop up. Well, you get to watch a little bit while you can, and then the rest you can watch the recording. Oh, thanks, Trina. Thanks a bunch. Okay, so I'm just bringing up some cards for today. I'm not in very long. I do have a crazy busy day here that I'm trying to work through, but so I think the last time we were in, we did a 2-day conversation last weekend. Then all weekend I wasn't in. I really took some time away. If you have not seen, there was a channeled message that I did post though on Saturday morning that I recorded Friday. So there was the weekly forecast reading that was posted, and I pulled a card for everybody in there for over the weekend. So there was a card for every zodiac sign in there in that reading. I'll also this week, I will get the May's Zodiac readings up as well on my Facebook page or my YouTube page. Remember, I have 2 YouTubes. So there's 2 YouTube channels. No, Danielle, you have not been here in a while. Nice to see you back. And Raina, hello. And Carol. Who else we got? I think I see. Yeah, I already seen Amanda. Okay. So I want to get started just because I have, and to everyone who's watching and don't comment, I do see you. I do see you come up. I see who's watching. So, and I see the numbers up there. So it's thank you. Thank you for always being here. You don't have to comment to know that I know you're here. Look at everybody joining. Your birthday's in May? Well, look at that. So you got some, there is some, there will be my monthly zodiacs going up there. Hello, hello, Lucy, Lorene. What day is your birthday, Taryn? Hello, Lisa. Hello, Deborah. Yes, my kitty was just there. I don't know where she went. Yeah, she's pretty. You'll only see her look that beautiful for a few more days, and then she's getting shaved. She gets shaved right down. She's not so pretty then, even though she likes it. May the 12th. Okay. Interesting. Taryn, did you come early? Were you born early? I don't know why I feel like I feel like you have some serious Gemini energy around you, even though you're not Gemini. Catherine, so happy to see. Yesterday's class was so mom, monumental, monumental for me. Oh, good, Kathy. It was for me too. I have to tell you, I was in awe of the words. I was in awe of the conversation. I was in awe, and it's kind of like only those in that class will get to see that class. Like, even if I do a recording, I'm going to re-record that class to go it again, because whatever that message was and wherever that came from, I know what was speaking through me and where it was coming from. It was so emotional. So if anyone ever gets the opportunities to join into my soul revival classes that I teach on Sundays, for the next series, I highly suggest taking them. It has changed my life again. Again, they're amazing, I have to say. So thank you, Catherine. Thank you for being there. I love, Catherine, that you're actually in that class. It's so beautiful. Hello, Heather and Leanne. Hello. I miss you, Leanne. I miss seeing you. When is it time to go back to more than existing school? Okay, so our first card that came up was Timeless Treasure, which is Ona. And so, and she's our first card up. I'm going to go right into the messages. Hello, friends. And so she's number 35. 35. Let's find her. I just had to set up everything all over again in Be Live. And then I went to go live. And when I went to hit live, everything wiped out again. And then I had to start and I had to write it all in again, because I save what comes up in that thing. So, Taryn, all the soul revival classes will come up in my in Corey School of Magic. We just finished the second series. You don't have to take like all the series, but there will be the first one coming out as, like, you can do the pre-record of the first one. I don't know if it's already out or if it's coming out, but it's in the school. And then we'll do the announcement for the third one that'll be coming up as well. It's four Sundays in a row is how we do it. We do 4 Sundays in a series. So you're not so overcommitted, but it's 19 minutes with me, and you get all of Corey in that class. It's a pretty kind of it's some deep soul work. We just did destiny. So the first time we did soul retrieval, this time we did destiny retrieval. I don't know what the next one will be, but I think you can do the pre-record of the soul revival in the school that's in there. Yes. So thank you, Lisa. The first series, Taryn, is available. It's available in the school. And so you can do that one. It's pre-recorded now. And so it's listed in there, and it has the meditations. It has everything in it. It's such a good class. I highly recommend doing it. So we have right here. I'm not all with it today. Yesterday's class, Catherine, I swear, I went to bed after yesterday's class. I went for a walk. I came home. I heard go home and go to bed. I laid down in my bed and went to sleep for like 2.5, 3 hours. I don't nap ever. And I got up for a few hours, got a bath, and then I went back to bed and I slept until 5:30 this morning. That's how much energy how much went through that class yesterday when I taught it. So it was crazy. So this is Timeless Treasure. This is our first card out. She's an absolutely amazing, stunning, beautiful card. She just got so much to her, so much life to her. And even though she's very small piece of the card, Una is, it's a card that really resonates to that whole sense of human time and the connection that we have with time. And if you can see the top and the bottom, what you're looking at there is you're looking at portals. So our human time really keeps us trapped in the essence of time, and it doesn't open us to possibility to allow ourselves to look beyond, to go beyond. It's to get us to stay in a thought, to keep us connected, or to keep us accountable. Like, it depends on what it's for. But if you look at her, she is 5 to 3. And so in the essence of my coming 360, coming into that full cycles, like to complete cycles, to come full cycle, full circle, sorry, to come full circle to complete a cycle, I always say it is that last quarter where people give up, where people start to lose themselves because we think we're there. You start accomplishing, you start to do all the things, life is going good, you get the work done, you're feeling happy. But that's the trick. That's the illusion, is that we believe because life is working out in the way that we want it to, then that's when we stop. And no, when I created these cards, when I released the first book, when I put all 4 levels of More Than Existing through, when the school was launched, and when all of that was there, and Lisa got all of those programs put in order and in place, I then went through what I call the dark night of the soul journey. And when I went through the dark night of the soul journey, that was when I was probably the most spiritually and emotionally kind of like in the depths of some of my deepest traveling, because it's when you have to let go of all attachments, when you have to surrender everything, the good, bad, and the ugly. You have to let it all go. And this is, where I am today on the other side of this, because I know I have traveled the full 360. I have come all the way through. I have made peace, and I have come to terms with a lot of things in my life. And this is where Catherine was just talking about our class yesterday, was that the class yesterday was, I shared something that I don't share with many people because I don't go back and rehash those parts of the past. But it's such a real truth to a defining moment in my life. And to be able to set yourself free is that those portal doors and those portals open up places and spaces, this is the way I want to put it, places and spaces that take us to the depths of the unknown, where you cannot see, you do not know what's going to happen, and it all depends on faith. And you have to have faith on such a deep, profound level, and not just in something outside of yourself, not just in that out there, such deep faith in yourself that you're able to strip it all down, be raw, real, and to kind of go naked, to go into the dark, to go into the depths of darkness, to discover your own role that you play in everything within your life, but to also recognize there's a possibility of that monster inside of us all, but also that I had to travel to the depths of depression, of anxiety, of all of those things. And that last little bit, the reason why people don't take that part of the journey, because it is the darkest part. It's the part that's the hardest to do. So when we talk about letting go of cycles and making changes, it also means that a lot of things in our lives change with it, and that we don't have any I don't have any construct of how much time it's going to take to get anywhere or what my destiny looks like anymore. I'm living in the power. I'm living in the power of love, compassion, kindness, but I'm also living in the essence of liberty, freedom. And to be able to set myself free of what I think my future should look like or what I thought I wanted, and to know that with full trust that it takes becoming and embodying all that I am as a light worker, to know that this light is so much more than your human essence, because this human was of creation in the human realm. What is inside of us and what is bigger than us and what is so much larger than anything but very small is the true essence of that creation and who we are on such a deeper level, that going there truly means you let go of everything that you hold yourself so attached to within this human realm. And it is hard. It is very hard. I don't say it's for everybody. And I always say to people, it's not for everybody. It's like there's places and times and things that you're going to be able to finish, but there's other things you're not. So when you feel like you've accomplished, like finishing up that book was more of a humbling experience than anything in my life, because it didn't mean that it went anywhere. Here we go, guys. Don't anybody answer the person there. We got to block him again. And so it's like when I finish those things, you want to believe that that's when, okay, I did that. Now everything's going to fall into place. And no, everything actually fell apart. After that book, everything fell apart. After I left the business that I was in, everything fell apart. When you think you're about to go into something is when you think you're about to just get started. Many times things fall apart and you feel like everything is going backwards, but it's not. It's unraveling. It unravels everything that you've become so tightly entwined in believing that's who you are, that's what you're doing. Because when we have ego, or when we have our human essence of us that believes that we are bigger than what we are, and that we are that creation, and I create this, and I do this, and I am this, and this is my words, and this is my work, and blah 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 blah, is that we get so caught out there that when it starts to unwind, it spins us all backwards. But it needs that momentum to then be able to thrust us forward, to be able to take us into this place of being able to push you forward. And so timeless treasure really truly was that construct of time and being free, that life itself, the human journey, is such a treasure. It is such a blessing. It is such an opportunity. If you allow yourself to go into the depths of everything of this human journey, there is such beauty and awe. And to see how magical and how beautiful and how astonishingly, oh, holy crap, I can't even get my words out today. Astonishing it is when you start to see how magical this human journey really is, and how we kind of like, we bite the hand that feeds us. So we attack the things that are here to protect us. We attack the things that are here to provide for us. We attack the things that are here to coexist with us. And we do all of those things because we start to get into that story that the human race and humanity, all those things are not good, and that everything outside of here is better. But there's such beauty and such awe. And the more that you spend time connecting to the human essence of you, you have less time to run from you. You have less time to try to rush time, less time to rush life. And you really want to stop, embrace, and enjoy it. And that's the truth. And that's kind of where I am right now. I'm a bit of pain in the ass with some of the work that I do, because I'm like, I don't have the same rush or that same desire or that same like that same, I have faith. And I have faith on such a level that I trust that, and I've set myself free of so many things. And there's so many that you can do. You nap like 4 hours after being, right? After being in and talking with my mom, right? Yes, Raina. Yes, right. It's like just that nap. Like it was like something about yesterday's class and yesterday and that. I'm like, holy crap. Like it was such a journey. So yes, so that's the timeless treasure, and she's crone energy, so she knows the journey. She knows where she has been, and she knows that she has to look into the light to allow. She knows she has to be a light in the darkness in order to be able to go to take that last little piece of the pie, to take that last journey. Okay, one other card. I'm very out of breath today. The Observer. So I feel like I'm about to channel like some message that got to come out in writing. So this is the Observer, and this is Shelta. She is our second card. She is 10, and she does tie deeply into the journey of transformation and observing. And I just finished talking to Lisa, and I just finished telling her, like, I was so, I'm like, I know people talk about, oh, I hate being a part of this time. And I'm like, I so am thankful to be here during this time, to be an observer of humanity, to be an observer of what happens when we are led by fear, to be an observer of how we interact, how we can be pulled to sides. And I'm also very thankful to be an observer in this energy of being able to be a channel and to discover what is happening out there, or what's happening in this world has happened many times before in many different stories and many different storylines. And if you look at time and you look at the stories, everything goes in a cycle until we're ready to break it. And fear leading our way is the one thing that always has led us down these roads of divide and separation and getting caught up in choosing sides. And we have not yet figured that shit out. That it is fear, and that we are so divided by fear stories that it separates us, and it gets us believing and holding on to stories and realities that are not always our truth, right? Yes. So, Taryn, the dark night of the soul journey is not just to go into the dark. That's not the dark night of the soul is it's a very big it's kind of that leads to that phoenix awakening moment. So but you do have to explore, not every the dark night of the soul journey is not for everybody, don't get me wrong. So but you do have to travel into all the places and all of the experience without stepping back into the experiences, to look at the stories through the eyes of who you are today and not who you were at the time. Because the problem, what we do in life, is we compare this past to as if it's in our now. So we look at it through the eyes of who we used to be and not who we are today. When you look at it from who you are today, and to get to your truest of self is a lot of really really deep layers. So the truest of self you probably have never seen since you've been here up on this earth, because we become so programmed, so conditioned. We become so we don't even know we're programmed until you start to realize how programmed we are. So those personas, the masks we wear, how we live by the roles, the identities that we get stuck in, there's so many layers and layers that take us away from our truest of self. And so when you're still waiting for the material world to even provide any sense of self for you, or any sense of like satisfaction, fulfillment, it really truly takes you to like some deeper levels. And there it is. So there's the link into the school. And that's kind of what, so that's why more than existing is broke down into 4 levels, Taryn. Like my more than existing is, I don't let people come in and just automatically take my coach training, like the light worker healer coach program, without doing the work on themselves first. Because the problem is that we all want to take these stuff and we all want to do this, but it's always that unhealed self, right? And so when we do that work and we have a desire to want to help other people, we start to forget about ourselves. And it's so important to do the work. So it's self-realization, and then it's mirror reflection. So then it's beyond the reflection, it's soul language, learning soul language. And then we go from soul language, we go into the healing. Level 3 is an ultimate 12-week healing where I take you on through the hero's journey. And we do the hero's journey to be the savior of, you have to be the savior of your own life. And then we go to and then it's the coaching program. So it's pretty much a year program in total, but broke down into 4 levels. So you'll only move forward as you feel ready to move forward. But self-actualization, self-awareness part of it is huge. Yeah. And so Shelta, being the observer, is that if you look in that picture, you'll see all kinds of faces and images, and it's all perceived differently. So we all perceive through our own eyes, based on our emotional connection, based on the stories that we tell ourselves, because the reality we live in is the illusions that we turn into stories. So we can tell ourselves, we can convince ourselves we're as happy as we want to be, even if it's in misery. We can convince ourselves that somebody we know is not the best for us is the best for us, based on the stories that we want to tell ourselves. And so we can overlook a lot of different things. And when you stop your half-ass in life, and that's the essence of it. More than existing, just existing is half-assing. More than existing is you're no longer half-assing anything. You have to accept some truths that are much deeper than what you ever thought you would have to face, right? Because when you're half-assing is how we end up spinning back again, how we end up back into our sense of addictions, depression, sadness, like those type of places that we go. Hello, 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 everyone who's joining in. And so the observer, Shelta, is observing with fresh eyes. She is observing with non-judgmental, unconditional eyes, that she's looking in, she's leaning back. She doesn't have to jump in right away. She knows she can observe. She's got time. And so, yeah, Taryn, like if you feel like you're there, it's like really observe your own life. You've got to be willing to observe your own life, to look at your own life, and to just look at where you have been, what you have been through, and what you're experiencing now. And you can see life in such a different way. You're reading the subtitles? Yeah, the subtitles are not the same. They change my words. So if I speak low, or if it's like, If it's like a little bit of a stutter in my language, the words come out wrong, the subtitles are hilarious. And they never spell my name right in the subtitle. If I say Corey, it spells it wrong. And so then we have Scarlet. So both are hooded. So both of these are hooded. They're wearing their hoods, their cloaks. And one's in like a pinky red, and the other one is in white, which is very interesting to me today. And it's funny because Lisa and I just kind of had the conversation about the white and the red cloak, or the white and the red in the root and in the crown. So there's a big part of what I do and what I speak of now in my work, a lot in my work. And so she's the unveiling. It's not about coming home. It's not about your purpose or your destiny. It's about the journey along the way. Is what you're going to do in the middle. Is what you're going to do from the middle. Can you do, it's the work that we do, and it's about being able to do the work. So this is the unveiling. This is Scarlet. And she realizes that, she may have to ride the wave. She may have to wait for the storms to pass, but she's peeking out. She's letting out the parts of her that she's ready to let out, that she's observed enough. She knows her time. She knows that it's time to start walking out. She's aware of her divine timing and her connection. And the validation cards, all that, of course, is at the bottom of the deck, which is always the card at the bottom. And that is, she is her own creation. Hold on. Sorry, I dropped cards at the top of the deck. Pick those up. Lucy, just come back and watch the recording. And yes, Catherine, when you're back home, come back in again. And if you look really close at Scarlet, is that, she's unveiling herself, her truth, her life, as she feels it's her time, or as she feels ready. And if you look at the gold that swirls around, so you have your white, you have your red, you have the pattern that's in her reddish. And so that paisley kind of pattern really represents the power. This represents energy. And so we are all made of energy. We are all created of energy. And so there's so much energy around us. There's so much that we absorb. There's so much that we take in. There's so much of what we absorb in energy that we believe it to be a part of us. So when someone else has hooked into you or hooked onto you, that you don't even realize that you're actually acting out or living in their dream, or you are picking up their personality, their persona, and you start to behave like that person. And even if it's the person you even don't like, it's funny. You saw Shelta in the doorway yesterday. She was with other women, and they all had on crowns. I was going to message. Oh my God. Yes, you should have messaged me that. So, and every one of these cards are, of course, of my journey of the creation. That's amazing, Catherine. And it's funny you said that about the crowns, because that's huge for me lately, is the crowns. And so all night I could feel this hood. So once I started, like a lot of my journey, I started to meet a lot of my spiritual counsel, I would find myself touching my head whenever I go to like start work or start channeling into workshops. I'd be touching my head because I could feel that hooded. And she's, and so she's very connected into everything that is tied into the higher realm. Scarlet she is awake. She is aware. She knows where she's going. She's a 36. She's also in her crone energy, but she knows no matter how awake or how aware she is or how conscious she is or anything like that, she don't have to project anything she don't want to project. She don't have to become part of any world that she don't want to. She don't have to give more than she wants to give. She's kind of taken a little bit of a stand. So she's unveiling as she chooses to. Her eyes are wide open. She is aware. And that's the difference, is to be awake and aware. To be aware of yourself is to have a sense of confidence and unconditional love and compassion for self that is almost, I call it like virtually almost impossible to understand in human form. A lot of this I couldn't even wrap my head around in human form. I would only feel it when I was channeled in, when I was with spirit guides. And now I'm feeling it right here on earth. And so I have such an awe to like really teach and to get people. And that's what more than existing is. A lot of it is to really appreciate the beauty of being a human. and stop trying to seek out more or trying to, it's like there's just such a beauty and such an awe and such magic in the human. And if we could spend more time exploring the human as we keep trying to explore the spiritual world outside of ourselves, you would be in awe. Just think. I mean, you get to stand upright. You walk upright. You got these feet. You can even swim with these feet in this body. This body can float. It can sink. It can sit. It can stand. It can walk. It can see color. It can make up its own stories. It can create its own stories. It can think for itself. It's got its free will. It can cook. It uses its hands. It can paint. Like, it's incredible. It can create. It can like birth a child. It can grow a child inside and give birth to a child. It can work. It can do mathematics. Like, just fucking think. It's pretty fucking spectacular if you think about the human race and you think about the human being and what we have done, right? And so there's such magic. 36 equals, yes, 36 is 9. Yes, it is. And so it's that power of 9. Here we go. The power of 3s. It's 36, 9 complete. Yes, 9 complete. Sherry is my number girl. She's always here to keep me in my little number game that I'm sometimes not paying attention to. So then we had 5, which would be 8 or 2. What else did we have, Sherry? And 10 and 5. We have a lot happening. So there's a lot happening out in the universe right now. There's a lot happening out in the world. We have a lot of energy. So if I were to channel through some of the things that I have happening, there's a big, like, there's a big weighted kind of energy in the world today. It's just tiring. It just feels like we have been through, it feels like we've just been through the war and back. Like, it's like, that's what it felt like. This weekend felt like the energy was, there was a lot of energy. We fought through a lot of energies. And it's funny. It's just funny. So Molly McCord just popped up on my phone and talks about the energies coming into Sagittarius, the lunar eclipse. And I'm like, that's hilarious. So we do have some big shifting energy that is happening right here, right now. And I do tap into to listen to some of my astrologers who I love. Molly McCord, love her work, love what she does. And I also love Intention Beads is the name of their Facebook page. It's 2 women, and that's always on these lives on there, and they are astrologers, and they talk every weekend. They talk about the astrology and the things that are happening. I haven't seen now in a couple weeks, but Intention Beads is their site as well. So there's so much. 582 are my 9 star key numbers. That's cool, Taryn. That's very cool. So cool. See how it works out? See the magic, right? There's so much magic in awe. Okay, so I'm going to validate this with one last card, one last message for us. In this world and out of this world, we got the mermaid. And so more magic. So we have the beautiful mermaid. I do have to get rid of some of these cards, though. Got to get rid of one. So we have the mermaid. And so this is Merlina, and she is 7. And she is number 7. She's all the way back in the maiden. And she comes up with so much magical. And she is about being in this world and that world. And, you know, we could be wishing we're in this world. And we spend a lot of time hoping and wishing. How come that just come across the bottom of my screen? We spend so much time wishing to be somewhere else, to Facebook or Be Live has been doing some updating, so some weird stuff happening. And so this sense of the mystical dreamer is that we spend a lot of time, if I only had feet. If I had feet, I could walk. You know, if I had a fin, I could swim. Or if a mermaid wishes if she had feet, she could walk. We're always on that wishing of this and that. And we're always in that energy of, you know, we observe what somebody else wants, and we watch what somebody else has, or what somebody else looks like, or what somebody else lives like. So then we start to do a story, and we create stories around what we believe somebody else is living like. So if you meet people and then you think they they have money, they might live in a nice house, they might drive a nice car, they might have they always done up, they might look like $1 million all the time. And so you create a story. It's like, oh, I wish I could be like her. I wish I could live like her. I wish I had that. And all of those things that you do, oh, I wish that was my life. And so we also create that of what we think the spiritual world is and what we think it is like to live that spiritual awakening. It's like, oh, it's this, it's that. And it's nothing like that at all. And so the more that you wish for that, you're also then wishing for everything that I wish I could be like her. Well, then you're probably also going to be getting the things in her life that she is disguising and hiding behind everything that she's trying to perfect the image to put out. And you're thinking, well, why is this happening to me? Because you're now stepping into somebody else's dream and somebody else's world, and you really wish to be just like that person or to have the life of that person. So everything you wish for, you start to get because you wish for something that you thought you seen, a story that you created, and you live in that. And so we can live as magical as we want. We can create it as misery. We can create our own misery. We can create our own lives. And so everything that has one side to it or one story also has another story, right? And so when you look at the crab and the purpose of the crab, and we look at it as a spiritual, we look at it in the way of a crab and the purpose of it in the water and what its purpose is right here in its present form. And then we turn it into something freaking magical. And it's like, oh, it's our spirit guide. And as my spirit guide, the crab is like, oh, it's this and it's that. And it teaches me this and it teaches me that. But if you've seen it on the shore, you just either discount it, walk past, or you look at it and explore it. But when you start to imagine it into something magical, you create it into this big magical being, right? And so it's the same thing with that, with the Christ-like, the God-like, like all of that, the angelic realm. You create it into these, like we created into something spectacular, and that's spiritual, even spiritual awakening. People say to me, "Oh my God, you're so lucky to live this life." I'm like, really? I mean, I am blessed to live this life. I am honored that this is my call. I'm honored that this is the direction. Do you know what it takes to get to here? Do you know what this has taken me to get to here? You know what this cost to get to here? And I don't mean financially. I mean in other ways. And so that spiritual awakening wasn't some big, beautiful halo energy came in and an angel lifted me up and took me into some beautiful journey. It's been crash fucking landing, dirt ass poor, lose everything. It was losing my health, losing everything, financially strapped, broken, everything that comes with. That's how you end up in the dark night of soul journey. And then having to find my freaking way back out of there and find your way back up. And what it took is faith. It is having faith to know that no matter how bad my days were, I knew I would rise again. I knew there was something more. I knew there was something deeper, because it's like you can't stay in that misery self. You can't stay in that land or wish for something that you believe, because all that you believe is that you believe somebody else's life looks like that you want, is that every bit of that is the same thing as the misery life that you're convincing yourself it's comfortable. And so it's all that illusions. So then you're still only living in freaking illusions. And then you're constantly disappointed. You're upset. You're frustrated. You're angry. You're sad. You're everything. And you're getting more of what you don't want. Right. And so that's what happens to us. And Colette, I think you need to go back and watch from the beginning of this one, because I think there's a real positive message in there for you. And so when you look at it and you look at that whole journey, is every time you get a temporary satisfaction in your life, or you get one little thing that feels like it's going right for you, or you get that image of, oh, everything is good now, everything's right. I don't need this and I don't need that. And I got this, I seen this, I watched this. It's like, I did this and I just finished saying to one of my friends she's like, oh, I just did this. And I said, good. But you're great at fooling people. You're great at convincing people, because you've been able to convince people your whole life. You're doing great when you're really not. And the person who sees through you is me, because I have the ability to see beyond, because we get so good, right, of living in this world and that world. We get so good. And to be able to come all the way in is that you content yourself. And finding that sense of contentment and peace, and making peace with everything that may never be for you, but making peace with where you are, with what we have. If this was not our invocation, if this was not where we were meant to be, we wouldn't freaking be human. So why are we so determined to be something more than the human being that we are today. Right? Well, Colette, you're just going to get it. You're just going to get it, everybody through it, right? Like, I just feel like it's everywhere. I had COVID before they start testing for COVID, and I was so freaking sick. I was in for like a whole month, and it's like, but we didn't have the same fear around it because we didn't hear all the stories. You can't change it. It is what it is in your home right now and in your house, and you just take care of what you can. You do what you can, and that's all you can do right now. And just know that you're all going to be okay. You're all going to be okay. And it's just hard having everybody in the house at the same time. Yeah, it's sucky, but yeah, you're going to be okay. But go back and watch from the beginning, though, Colette. I think this might resonate with you. So because to observe the experience, and what do we learn from the experience? So what is there to learn from this experience? What are you learning from this experience? How is it for you, right? And it's like everybody's experience is going to be different. And so it's not about wishing to be somebody else's or wishing to be like somebody else, or right. And it's the same thing when we wish, oh, I wish I had time off, or I wish I had a break. I wish I had be careful, because you never know how it's going to show up for you. You never know how you're going to get that wish come through. So if you don't go wishing on those levels, is that I hope to see a day, a time. I hope I have that. And, there's such a journey to be taken. And it's the same thing when I train people for mediumship. Same thing. People have this magical image of what they think mediumship is, and to be able to talk to spirit. And yes, it is to a certain degree, but you have to remember, 8 hours a day that I may sit with clients, and a lot of the people that I'm sitting with are in their lowest, most hurtful place. And there's nothing pretty or joyful about that energy. And it's sad, and it's a sad way to be, but also some of the spirits that have come through also show me how they left this world. And some of the things that I have witnessed and experienced of seeing how people have left this world are things that you will wish you have never, ever see with your human eyes. And because I've seen it, it is such deep, deep work. But I have such a love and such a respect and such an honor for what I do and for what I get of this, is that when I teach mediumship, I teach it in such a sacred way. It's not a joke. It's not to be taken lightheartedly. It's not for the light of heart. It is not something that is like, oh, everybody wants to be a medium because it seems like it is fun. Because it's not all fun. It's a very serious thing to do. And I break my work up, and I do a lot of different things because my work is so heavy. And so I always say to people, are you sure of what you want to take on? Just because you have the gifts, there's many ways that we can use who we are and what we have within us to be of service in this world, and to be able to just know that not everything, just because it looks glamorous, it doesn't mean it's glamorous. And if you do any of this work and you do it for the money, and you think it's going to be about the money, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. It's like anything in life. There has to be something so powerful inside of us. And that's where I was. It was just something so powerful inside of me that keeps taking me to the places that I'm meant to be. And I trust that. And I don't force that. And I think that's the message, is look at where you are, observe where you are. You unveil as you're prepared, you're ready, you open as you are, and then you allow life to provide for you in the way that it is meant to. And the more that you honor and start to appreciate who we are as a human, and the body, and how powerful we are in our own self to do the healing. If fear is going to lead your way into healing, you'll never heal. If fear is going to lead your way into healing, you will never heal. So when I did get very sick, call it like when I knew I was very sick, I just seen myself as better. I knew I was going to get well. I knew it was going to be a long journey. I knew I was very sick. I knew there was a lot going on, but I didn't let any fear in, and I don't ride that fear, and I don't get caught in the stories. There is such a deeper place that when you learn hope, faith, trust, when you learn compassion, kindness, even for yourself, you start to explore world in a different way. So the mystical dreamer, Marlena, is to be able to stay into your world, appreciate it, honor it, see the magic that we have right here without having to create a story around it. That no matter where people are, they're still good. They're still, there's still good in the world. There's still beauty in the world. There's still awe in the world. There's still hope in the world. There is still the Christ-like in the world. There is still light in the world. And there's always still the strongest thing of hope that is left there. And so when we see something, and you shouldn't have to make it a magical being to fall for it, live in awe of it. See the magic in just as it is. And what so much of this world has is an intricate system that everything works on our behalf so that our world is a better place for us to live. And that's the truth, including the bumblebees, including the shrimp at the bottom of the ocean, including the jellyfish, including, all these beings that are in the world are all here doing their job. And you are the superior being that is here on earth. You trump even so much as the elephant, the jaguar, all of those things that we create into these mystical, magical creatures and spirit animals. And we fight tooth and nail for, to make sure we don't extinct that. But us ourselves, we don't see the magic in us. We don't look at ourselves as a spiritual being. We look at ourselves as, just human. And then we got to find a magical crab or a magical fish or a magical bird, a magical messenger in the animals. But we ourselves are just as magical. And it's time for us to see the magic in who we are as a human, and the ability to be able to be more powerful in love than we are in fear, because fear is what lowers the vibrations. Fears is what makes us lose faith in ourselves and to lose faith in humanity, and fear is what divides us. And when we are being led by fear stories and guided through fear stories, we become enemies with ourselves and with others. And it is time for us to start seeing the magic in the human beings and to come back into full connection together. Be the change. Be the change. So I can tell you, Colette, you're going to be fine, Rose. And I think that's all I got for you today. I'm like, where do I go with this? I think that's it. Thank you for being with me. I will be back in mornings tomorrow. I'm having a really hard time catching my breath. I'm just like trying to breathe through. This energy is heavy, and I have such compassion for where people are in their lives right now. And because we have been through a lot, there has been a lot going on here, and it's time for us to be able to, if you're strong and you're healthy and you're in a right frame of mind, turn off the freaking news, number one, and send out light, love and light to others, so that we can start to light up the world with more and more of love and light, and not from a sense of having any motive to manipulate or any motive to behind why we have these objectives that we have to force the fear stories or to get people stuck in energies. Just love and light to each other. If we can do anything today, let's just share that love and light. Much love. Have a beautiful day. And please remember, come home through the middle. If we get here, there's so much more that we can do. That's the way home. Resting in the middle. A beautiful day. I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Going to catch my breath now. Thank you. Bye-bye.